Hi everyone. Almost without me realizing it, AI has completely transformed my life. I've had chronic health issues for many years, so I turned to voice recognition to support my day-to-day functioning. Then, with the rise of generative AI, I began to focus on learning more and sharing ideas through this YouTube channel. And now, I have completely altered my career to put AI at the center of my work. Keep watching to get the whole story. This video has 3 parts: health challenges, becoming a YouTuber, and then everything changed. Part 1. Health challenges. If you've watched some of my other videos, you probably know that I have several health challenges. I actually completed a PhD in cybersecurity several years ago, and the issues began near the start of my PhD. Thanks to fibromyalgia, my hands are quite sore, and I have to wear these gloves all the time, and I can't type very much, which is pretty difficult when you're trying to be a computer scientist. So I started relying on AI to help do my work. It wasn't as exciting as it sounds. Specifically, I was using voice recognition instead of typing on a keyboard. But I was trying to do software development and research, so I had to modify the voice recognition software itself quite heavily, because most voice recognition is designed for people writing emails or just straightforward English. So I rolled up my sleeves and I created some voice coding systems that were precise and accurate enough that I could actually continue to write C or C++ with them, for instance. At that time, you had to be very precise and literal with voice recognition. There was none of the reasoning capability that LLMs have today. So you would have to speak individual characters or spell out words. Sometimes, of course, you can rely on the English recognition capabilities to speed things up, but it was very common for me to be saying something like, move the cursor 6 characters to the left. So it can be pretty exhausting and hard on your voice, but you can write code at a reasonable pace once you learn the voice language. I made another video where I go into depth about the adaptations that I had to make during my PhD, the voice coding and all that, so check it out if you're interested. Today, I rely wholly on Android and open source speech recognition. In addition to my own projects, I eventually ended up working with open source projects that were doing voice coding and was able to contribute some code and some GPU time. It's amazing to think, though, that the technology I needed was basically invented at the exact same time that I needed it. In some cases, the tech was invented a year or 2 later, so I ended up creating some of the initial systems myself, even though those ended up not being the ideal solution in the long run. But it was basically perfect timing. After all that happened in my PhD, I actually became the CTO of a startup, and I did that for several years, working very hard. I was isolated from people a lot, which was by design early in the pandemic and by habit these days. And the startup is doing quite well. It has about 40 people now. But partially because I was working so hard, and partially just due to the passage of time, I've had many other health issues alongside just my hands. Fibromyalgia is a very complicated illness, and it affects people in different ways. I actually go into a lot of detail about my own symptoms and what I think of fibromyalgia in another video over here, so please feel free to check that out. But I will highlight 2 things briefly. I'm very sensitive to food smells, so I have to have a very restrictive diet. And also, while I was working on the startup, my eyes became very sensitive to light, so I have to wear dark glasses and ski goggles and the like all the time. You'll see, in fact, that the lighting for this video isn't particularly good because I don't have very bright lights in front of me, so my face isn't very well lit. But it's sort of the best I can do given my current sensitivity levels. So in short, it's very complicated being me, but I am also always improving despite many years with these health conditions. For instance, just last month, I found a medicated hand cream which actually helps my hands calm down a bit when they're really sore. And it often helps me relieve some of the stress of not being able to do something that I had planned to do. But yes, I will purchase phones purely based on how good their voice recognition is because I use it hundreds or thousands of times a day. So I guess you could say I'm getting an early start on being a cyborg. Part 2. Becoming a YouTuber. Although I had been on the periphery of AI because I was interested in voice recognition and using it personally, the AI boom really started with ChatGPT, of course. And I knew that this would change the world hugely. I wanted to get involved. I wanted to tinker with the technology until I knew it inside out, because that's what I would have done with any new technology when I was younger. But because of my hands, it was very difficult. Nevertheless, I wanted to find a way to become involved. And that was one of the origins of this YouTube channel. I realized that one of my main strengths is in teaching and communication, which in the past had led me to want to teach at universities. But I also realized that I could just create content on my own. And although I'm good at writing, I feel like it's very hard to differentiate yourself to build an audience as a writer, especially if you don't have credentials that say you're the foremost AI expert on this area or something like that. But I really like teaching in person with my arms waving around to indicate things and drawing on a blackboard or whatever. So I decided to try video, even though it's actually pretty hard for me to film videos because I have to get the lighting exactly right for my eyes, etc. But I thought it might be a good format for me to express myself. I personally never used to watch videos, but I did get into the habit of watching streamers a lot during the past years to entertain myself when my hands were too sore, for example. It was a great way to spend some time because I could just watch, or I could use voice recognition to send messages if I really wanted to. And while I don't have the time to become a streamer, I did decide to create a YouTube channel and give back in the same medium in shorter bite-sized chunks, hopefully. So I took a course about YouTube and made my channel and got a lot of traction really quickly. And now it's almost the 1-year anniversary for my channel. I think when this video comes out, it'll be roughly 11 months and 2 weeks or something like that. And in that year, as of the time of this recording, my channel has attained about 11,500 subscribers, which far exceeded any of my goals. But I'll talk more about my goals and the analytics and so on for my channel another time. Being on YouTube and having an interest in AI has actually been the basis for a lot of new relationships and friendships for me as well. As I said, I have been quite isolated since the beginning of the pandemic, but I've been able to have a lot of online friends, and the number of online friends has really blossomed. Many of my strongest friendships now are with people that I've met in the last year, as I've explored YouTube and AI and had weekly calls to catch up with people and so on. I want to mention as well that the Discord that we have for this YouTube channel has also been a source of a lot of joy for me, and it's very important to me to be able to talk to all my viewers and see what they're thinking. In fact, having that community was my primary motivation for actually starting a YouTube channel and getting me over the line. So although my presence on Discord has been minimal for the past few weeks, it's because of all the changes that I'm going through in my life right now. And I hope to prioritize it more since it's important to me in the future. And I hope to see you there. Part 3, and then everything changed. Despite the somewhat ominous sounding title, my YouTube channel is the same. Nothing has changed there, don't worry. I will be continuing to make videos. However, the rest of my work, like where I live and what I do for a living, has changed dramatically. Because of my PhD, my main expertise is in computer security. And though I was reading a lot about AI for my channel and for fun, and picking apart the occasional paper since I have some research experience, I was certainly not an expert. Nevertheless, I decided to start looking for a job that would let me practice security and AI at the same time, to sort of transition from pure security into a mix of both. An academic role would have been ideal because it would be closer to teaching, and that's something that I like doing. And I thought I could use the YouTube channel as evidence for teaching ability, but it was quite hard because I was switching from industry to academia and also slightly switching areas from pure security to something more of a hybrid. However, I got very lucky and was offered a position at an AI research lab. In fact, it's one of the most famous AI research labs in the world. I'll be providing the team with a lot of security expertise as they try to think about AI safety, and I'll also be learning as much about machine learning as possible, hopefully collaborating on a wide variety of projects. And my supervisor even explicitly said that I should continue to make YouTube videos, that I should consider it part of my work, that part of my work is communicating about AI to others. So I think having this YouTube channel definitely helped me get the position. It let me demonstrate a deep interest in AI despite not having a lot of formal training in it. So I'm changing the direction of my career. It's very exciting for me, and it comes along with a lot of other positive changes as well. I'll be moving to a new city, a place that I've always wanted to live for a while, and I'll also have a few months between jobs, between my current startup position and the new research one. I'll be spending most of that time traveling. I'll be in Australia, Japan, Malaysia, and possibly other places as well. In fact, I'm flying to Australia later today, so that tells you how well my time management is going. So you can probably expect a new background for my videos, and I'm happy to report a new microphone as well. I know this one isn't really the highest quality, and there will likely be a few weeks without uploads in the coming months, but don't worry, that's just because everything is changing for me right now, and I'll be in new and unexpected places, so your patience is appreciated. So that's basically it. In conclusion, when I think about it, I've had a much deeper relationship with AI than I would have expected. After all, my PhD research area was not very related to AI at all. But because of my health, I started using voice recognition all the time, day in, day out, and really became dependent on it, which I think is basically the definition of a cyborg. And seeing the advent of generative AI is one of the things that encouraged me to create a YouTube channel. And a lot of my friendships and relationships and communications are now revolving around the channel or my Discord community or the people that I've met along the way. And then finally, that channel was one of the factors that enabled me to completely switch my career into a more AI research focused direction. If there's one thing I've learned about myself, it's that I like to embark on really big projects that require a lot of consistency and time put into them to succeed. Don't forget learning the Japanese language, which I somehow did alongside all that other stuff. So I think all these things, doing a PhD, being a long-term CTO, having a YouTube channel, all these things are a very good fit for me. And I'm so happy that I've discovered them and made them a part of my life. So thank you to everyone who watches my channel, leaves comments, engages me, and special thanks to my Patreon supporters who help me cover the costs that I incur in making videos for this channel and ensure that it remains a sustainable hobby. But then again, I guess it's part of my work now, officially. But thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed the update about how my life has completely changed. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out this previous one I made about how I dealt with not being able to use my hands for typing during my PhD. It's very related to what we talked about here, and I think it's just a crazy tale, so you'll probably enjoy it. Well, that's all I have for today. Wish me luck in my travels. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.